What's going on, gamers? What's going on, world? So here we have an thing that I've been seeing online recently about Bioware rejecting people who were critical, streamers and reviewers who were critical of the game, and they're not giving them review codes. So I'm going to say a couple things about this. One, real men accept criticism. You know what I mean? Professionals accept criticism. Definitely you're supposed to be leaders in the industry, and you've been in the industry this long. The only way to get better is to be open to constructive criticism. This is what men do, this is what adult or grown individuals do. So this is how you know, like, it's a perfect example of this weirdo femme cult that's going on in the gaming industry that cannot handle honest results. Back then, you would just throw out your reviews to everyone as much as possible, and whatever those results were, definitely if you're confident, right? Whatever came back, you would read it honestly, and you would see what you could do to get better, right? But let's talk about who's leading also the direction in this game. It's a queer gender, non-binary individual, whatever. So yeah, we know that means they want to interject all of their insights into the direction of the game, and that people are catering around that type of confusion, and that Bioware is now full of that type of nonsense. They already had problems before with Anthem. They already had problems before with the Andromeda, and now you have all this DEI woke invasion coming in. Combining those two together, it's just not going to be good. And if they were very confident in this game, they wouldn't be sitting there pulling these type of stunts to make sure that the only type of people they want reviewing the game are things that looked positive from their ends. So they're not really confident in the game. And everybody's getting bashed a lot, and it just is not looking good. So I'm not telling people that are Dragon Age fans to not be excited for the game and not to get it. If that's what you want to do, that's your free will of choice. But what I'm simply calling out is corrupt behavior by people that are led by a Baphomet spirit. So let's go ahead and get into this. Let's see what uh, John F. Trent here has to say. I said I like the guy. He's cool. Definitely a light worker. So let's go.
BioWare appears to be doing their very best in order to shape a very crafted image of Dragon Age the Veilguard, only allowing streamers and reviewers who were positive of the game's playtest to receive full review codes for the game. So claims YouTuber Wolfheart FPS. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. I wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. You can find the link in the description below. You can also find a link to join the channel and help us fight back against woke ideology that is taking over our entertainment, whether that be in video games or movies and television, and even in novels and comic books. But this is what Wolfheart FPS claimed over on X. He says 3 creators, myself included, were a bit more critical than others with our hands-on time with Dragon Age the Veilguard. Not a single one of us will be getting a review code with time to actually give opinions before release. Just thought I would throw that out there. And he.
So what that means is that you know how like when a game releases and then it has like probably like 25, 30 scores on Metacritic for a little bit, then all of a sudden all the other ones flow out. What they're going to try to do is control the narrative of the way that happens. And they're not going to give people that are going to even criticize the game honestly at all, which means they can't handle honesty and they can't handle constructive criticism as if like you can only see my game as positive. See, that's called deception. It's also corrupt because you're not looking to improve then. You just want people to accept that. So that gives you the idea that this is not real gaming development, that's not real direction, and that's not confidence in your game. Like, if you want to get better, you have to allow things to be honest, and you have to be open about it 100% and see what the real honest results are. They're trying to skew that off and only pick people that they want to make it look positive. I mean, this is not good. That type of mindset is weak.
Was rather critical of the game, but he also had positives, and you can find his review or his initial reactions in this article. Here we'll go over some of them a little bit later, but he was very critical of the art style. He was very critical of how the UI was operating, critical of the combat system as well. He had lots of criticisms for the game, but he was positive on the story, and he basically was saying that there is some kind of hope that the story might actually be decent. Based on what we've heard from other an actual playtester, that does not seem to be the case, but based on his initial reactions in that 7-hour playtest that he got to, that is what he said. He then added this in a subsequent post. Please keep in mind, folks, that this does not mean that my more critical opinion is better or more truthful than those who have been more positive. I'm just simply pointing out how marketing works. This also doesn't mean the game will be bad, but it is something to consider. I think it is very obvious that Bioware is clearly trying to cull people who would have negative opinions of this game in order to shape the most positive view of the game that they possibly can from reviewers. I think that this is exactly what they are doing.
Yeah.
I think that this reeks of desperation. It smells of fear. I think it kind of confirms a lot of what we're seeing, that, or what I've been saying, is that I think sales for this game are going to be very similar to Star Wars Outlaws. They are going to be soft because they have pushed the woke ideology from top to bottom with this game. Wolfheart FPS won't say it, but I will. Obviously, I didn't do the playtest, but they clearly have it in the character creator. And he even points it out, though, with the pronouns. They've got the top surgery scars. We know that the game director has said everything, that this game is inherently queer, and the game director has described himself as a gender sexual queeromancer or something like that. I can't even remember. It's how insane it is.
Yeah, tell me about it. Like I said, the Baphomet spirit. If y'all don't know what a Baphomet is, look it up. It's a male with like tits, and it's been around for a long time. It's not anything new. It's a spirit these people are infected by. So that's the spirit that's running this game. So yeah, expect all that type of behavior. But like you said too, yeah, the sales are not going to do well. It's not going to sell no 7, 8, 9, 10 million. You know what I mean? They're even trying to give the game away for free to boost the vanity of it. They're doing all of this, and this just shows that they're not confident about the game. And there's a lot of competition and vacuums all around them. So many great games are released this month, and so many great games that will continue to come out. People can forget about it like it never released. And I like the Dragon Age series. You know what I mean? But this is the type of stuff that is going to have to go on. Every single one of these games that comes out like this, we're smashing it into the ground, and they're going to realize that we're not having it because you're trying to enforce that. See, when you do all that type of stuff, you're trying, like, think about when we talk about Dragon Age, right? Bioware games, Bethesda games. Your decisions are very important. You got to make choice dialogues. You know what I mean? That shapes the way you build bonds in the game. Writing and choices are very important in Bioware games. And now you have somebody trying to enforce that on all these characters. So it's going to affect the writing and the dialogue. That's going to affect young generation's minds. Like, it's enforcing it on a base that grew up without all of that. That's why it doesn't work. And then they get mad when it doesn't. And it's like, you're just slow. And it shows how mentally disordered you are, spiritually disordered, because you're trying to enforce that small little percentage of you in the world and magnify it and get people to accept all that. You see, we're not. So they're wrong, we're right. Period.
And we also know that they have said that all of the companion characters are quote unquote pansexual. Like, this is baked into the game. And then you look at the art style, it just looks bizarre. It doesn't look anything like Dragon Age whatsoever. It looks like a completely different game. I mean, Wolfheart FPS, in his initial reaction,
he's correct, because when I looked at it, I felt like the soul got taken out of it. The art was weird. Yeah, you have all this visuals around because that's everything looks good nowadays, but it just, something felt wrong, like something was missing. So I'm like, yeah, this is soulless. It feels that way. So yeah, guys, reject this because you have the right to. Yeah, you're not wrong because of that.
actually, he's comparing this to a mobile game, which is what Asmongold was saying, just watching other people play the game. And it does look like a lot of mobile game stuff. He's obviously comparing it with the UI and all of the markers on the ground and things like that. But interesting that he brought that comparison up as well. So let's get back here to what Wolfheart FPS said. He also responded to this woman here, Kala Elizabeth. She's also a YouTuber. She said there were also people who were very positive and were also at the event who didn't get review copies. Also, I definitely think you guys should have been given codes, but I just want to point out it wasn't only people being more critical who weren't given codes. And Wolfheart FPS responded saying this: I understand that, and I did my research on this before posting. The point is more so that everyone I know of who was critical did not get a code, with two of us being heavily involved in the party-based RPG scene. It's just not a good look. It is, however, a good look on the investor side of the equation. No, it might be a good side on the investor equation if Wolfheart stayed silent, didn't point this out, and showing that they are literally trying to, in my opinion, manipulate the positive reviews for this game. And you can call that good marketing or whatever, but it turns into bad marketing when you have Wolfheart FPS pointing it out, and we can clearly see the dots of what they are doing. You can clearly see that they're trying to shape a positive picture of this game in order to try and sell more copies. And again, as I said, I think that reeks of desperation. If you were actually confident in the game, if you thought your game was absolutely going to amaze people, you would have no problem giving copies to people who were previously critical of first impressions, because you would think you'd be able to change their mind because you would know how great your game was. That is not the case. They are not giving review copies to people who were initially critical of this game on the first playtest. And I think that right there tells us all we really need to know, that this game is not as good as what they want you to believe.
Nope. The same individuals are not behind it who made the original Dragon Age, Inquisition, and all that. When you swap behind the scenes, the manifestation in front of you shows what's changed because you see it, and then the soul is gone. You know it ain't the same. So yeah, it got sold out and destroyed big time and downgraded because all those people, they're not qualified like you would think to lead a series that we cared about and supported for a long time. I didn't want to come in here and destroy it and inject that weird stuff on us, and then we don't have the right to get mad. They're trying to double bind you and manipulate you. Don't fall for it. Stand in your power.
So in his video here, where he kind of does go over the game, the initial his initial test of the game, or playing of the game, the 7 hours that he got to play, he titled it "Mixed Impressions After Playing Dragon Age: The Veilguard Early." And if you go to the conclusion, he says, overall, initial impressions-wise, game is pulling me in so many different directions, and it leaves me very conflicted. But as a fan of the franchise as a whole, and as someone who's already gone through the mourning period that the Dragon Age franchise would head more towards the CRPG direction, or more towards the deep, complex RPG direction, I guess I could say, I do find myself still excited to jump back into it on release. And I think this is the big part here why he might not actually be getting this review code, because he says this: with that said, I just can't confidently say to you all, though, as my audience, that yeah, this is a definite buy. He literally is basically saying, don't buy this game. That's my takeaway, at least. My guess is that this game will unfortunately continue to be quite divisive, but I could be wrong. Not hard to say that. And then he said, for myself, the potential story and the world building is a powerful enough force to the Dragon Age franchise that I'll be playing it no matter what. And there are certainly some cool things that I talked about in the video, but I don't really see any world where this could be like my game of the year or anything like that. A few of the negatives that I mentioned in the video, they just feel a little too impactful for what I personally value in games, specifically RPGs. So obviously mixed reactions there. If you want to watch his whole impressions, you can in the link in the description below, as I said, because it's right here. But I found this really interesting. I think this kind of proves what we've been saying all along. These people are going to have soft sales for this game. They're trying to hide this. They're doing their best to try and boost support for this game. But I think all the signs are pointing to that this game will not have the sales of Inquisition, and we're going to see soft sales for this game.
No.
And it could be the end of Bioware as we know it. And if this is the type of garbage that they are going to be producing, if they are going to be injecting this ideology into their games, then they don't deserve to be making video games, because what they're doing is wrong and it is evil. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.
Good video, brother. Yeah, he's right. That's exactly what it is. And I think after this, their last straw is Mass Effect. And let's see what happens. But after seeing what happened with that board game, man, that just gonna annoy me too, because it's another series I love. But like, subscribe, y'all. Let me know what y'all think. Glad to do this. And like I said, leave that comment and let me know what y'all think. Fans, let me know what y'all think too. Trust me, I'm a fan just like you guys. I've been playing since one. I've been gaming for over 30 plus years. I've seen the industry all the way from the beginning all the way here now. So that's my take on that. All right, y'all. Peace out.